Good morning. This is Rosemary, and this is the Lightwalker's Path podcast. And I'm Rosemary DiTrolio, your host and guide. And this is a place to find your soul's purpose, to have enlightened conversation, and for me to meet and talk to inspirational guests and people, such as Diana Benz from Block and Breathe. Welcome, Diana.
Thanks so much, Rosemary. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm thrilled to have you on. So I wanted to mention a few things about you, if you don't mind. So Diana has a release, tension, restore balance, and spark energy from within through her Block and Breathe program. Her group classes and sessions and retreats are consciousness breath work based and fascia focused self body work,
Actually, yeah.
block therapy. She does Reiki energy, simple rituals, and it's always guided authentically through heart energy, I'm sure. She's faced health challenges that left her feeling disconnected. So she's certified in breathwork, block therapy, Reiki, and yoga, and holds an MED from George Mason University. So I can ask you about so many things. I'm excited to speak to you today, Diana.
I'm so excited to talk with you. I can't wait.
Okay, so my first question is, what challenges did you go through that you would like to speak on that have brought you to this healing, like pathway that you have found yourself on at this time in your life?
Yeah, well, actually, it started from when I was really young. I actually had a calcium deficiency, and so I needed more sunlight than I got. It was just a very turbulent time in my household, and so that kind of led me on a path of being a little bit more fragile, I would say,
Yeah.
physically. I actually ended up breaking my leg at 5. So yeah, and actually there was no physical therapy. There was just, you just go for it. And I ended up my alignment was off and it just my whole life actually trying to do the things that I love, but I was just reinforcing this bad alignment and like a fractional leg length difference from what happened. And so I so many big dreams I had, I became a yoga teacher, I did all these things. But I actually kept getting worse and worse because I didn't understand that my foundation off and I wanted to teach people, but I first needed to teach myself. So the health challenges, they build, and as they did,
Yes.
my body spoke louder and louder. And I'm getting goosebumps saying that because my body knows that I really listened
It's
to
the
it.
truth, yes. So some of the things that you do, like I know the fascia, I've got like, very tight fascia too, and a lot of it I know like we hold emotions in our body. So when you're teaching your yoga, you combine a lot of different things in. So it's not just pure yoga, but it's these other things you do, right? So when someone comes to you for a session or for what you do, can you like give me an explanation of what they would experience or what you would bring for them to experience?
I'm happy to. Well, the foundation of everything is the breath. So not all and this conscious breathing, absolutely. And that's my go-to practice is breath work, like making sure that the breath, it brings more of my spirit inside. And that's
Mhm.
what I want for people. It's an active style of meditation. It's very exciting in that we're getting to know ourselves in this whole new way. We get into this non-ordinary expanded state of awareness. So the breath work is there. And then when we're working to release the fascia, we are working to bring the breath into those areas that were blocked and restricted because we all have restrictions, right? Just from living and the tightness, the way we work, the patterns that we move, how sedentary we are, all of that affects us. So then the breath comes in and supports us as we release. So my whole, POV is, let's bring more space, more flow into the body. When we get stuck, that's where all the problems come from. So when you're coming to me, you're going to come and we're going to look at the breath. We're going to constantly bring ourselves back to the breath, not only the breath, but the breath coming deep in the belly so that we're
Yeah.
really, really, getting the oxygen where it needs to go. And that deep belly breath is you being present.
I love
And
that.
yeah, right in the moment. And then when we're present, we're in the moment. There are no, anxieties, worries, all the things that are future or past related, because in the present, everything is okay. It's always okay. And then we can have that connection to what really is happening. It's so
I think
beautiful.
that's probably the hardest thing in our society and for people to do is to be there instead of there or there. It's like we're always forward or backward and not like right now. Because really, that's the only moment that exists is right now. And the rest of it is that stuff that's in our brain from this happened, this is going to happen. Yeah, so I agree. So when you're working, are you working individually or in a group, or do you do both?
I do both. I absolutely, and since I was little, have loved teaching classes. And I was
Yeah.
a little misguided when I got my master's degree in education. I thought, oh, I want to be a public school teacher.
Uh-huh.
I didn't understand at that time. I didn't understand all the beautiful things that you do and that I do now. It's all building, of course, upon
Yeah.
where it's all the right way. It takes whatever path it takes. But yeah, so my what I'm doing a lot of now is bringing community together. I realize how important that
Yes.
is right now, this
Yeah.
energy. It's like a heart, revolution that we're in. And as we, amplify each other in these beautiful group spaces, then we do it. And I'm also available for private sessions. It's been interesting because my teacher, David Elliott, is one of my main teachers, and he encourages us to start, one-on-one work,
Mhm.
privately. And I always was like, no, give me the big group. And I absolutely love big groups, but it's
Uh-huh.
more of an exercise in
Right.
vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
As I become more comfortable with myself, then I can, look at the person next to, right across from me and say, okay, what do you need? And what do I need from you? I mean, it's a mutual exchange as well. It's so beautiful. So we just, can meet each other where we are. And that's where the healing happens. Not, I'm not doing anything. I'm just allowing. And that other
Allowing.
person is bravely allowing something much, much bigger than ourselves to come through. It's
Yes.
so cool.
Yes, I love that, and I understand that. As a school teacher, I taught for 32 years. Being in that modality with children has been wonderful, but I always knew there was more because me too, I had this kind of spiritual understanding really, really young, and I always like, how can I use this? When I began channeling in the angel realm, it just was a natural fit that once you know something, you can't unknow it. So then you start infusing it in everything you do, and then people just draw to that magnetic energy of where you are and your vibration. And that's been a wonderful thing. So I love working in big groups. I love it. But I also love the one-to-one because I can help shift people just basically to bring in the energy they need and then to allow them the energy. So it's always part of my mission. So I understand that's very similar between us.
Yeah, yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yes. So I know that you also work at a mega center, right? And that is the coolest place ever. So I tell people all the time about a mega center and what a unique experience you have when you go there and like, you're eating the, vegetarian food and you're walking those hills and you're going to that little library. It's just a really neat place to be. So how long have you been working at Omega?
Yeah, I pinch myself every day that I get to work there. I actually first came to Omega in 2007,
Hmm.
and I have been there ever since, off and on, of course. And I absolutely love it. Like I feel the same way about it now as I did then when I first came onto that campus. There's this energy. It's so dedicated to spiritual awakening. We have these beautiful souls that are coming there for their own healing, as well as helping guests, just feel and connect with themselves, and the land has so much wonderful energy. Yeah, I love the Omega Institute. It's such a
It's a
dream.
neat place. I love the meditation area. I took my girlfriend and I went up there for the Reiki, one of the Reiki conferences, because I know they've only had, I think, two of them since that. But we went up there to explore the Reiki conference, and I took her near her birthday weekend, and we went up to the like meditation area with the water and the Japanese bell. I was like, oh my gosh, it was so magical. And it was just such a blessing to be there with people that do what we do and understand what we understand. And that was just really, finding your tribe, I always say, you find your people.
Exactly. You find your people, and then we support each other, and then we can go out and do the things we want to do in the world.
That's right.
Authenticity. We've got it. It's, we all are looking for that spark in ourselves so we can bring it and encourage it in other people as well. So
Yes. I think it's, we're coming into a time of history that is the sacred feminine coming back. And I know that there's such a divisive pull between the two energies, but I think that instead of looking at what's wrong in life, I always bring it back to what feels right, how can I authentically be myself, and how can I expand this light to other people? And that's always the mission. I think when we are on a spiritual path, it's not really about noticing what's different, but noticing the community and what's the same. So I think That's really an interesting way to think of life, right?
No, I'm very conscious of the energy that I bring to any situation. And before I leave the house, when I get up in the morning, because you know whatever wherever your attention is, that's what you're going to get and what you're giving throughout the day. And that's such an empowering,
It
beautiful thing. And
is.
we have that responsibility. We are energy beings. We
Your
are,
energy beings.
yeah. So let's use it
Yeah,
wisely.
I love that. We just had this conversation. I had this conversation with my husband that each morning my intention is let me be blessing and light to someone today. Let me be there when someone needs me. And then at night, I just go through what could I have done better? Where can I bring more light into my own soul and life and whatever? And I do that. I've done that since I've been 9. And it's been a long, long time. And then, of course, we're human. We all mess up. We all do things like, like, why did I do that? But I think it's a focus to refocus ourselves each day. It's a new chance each day, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if you do this, but I've just started doing this and I find it is so helpful. But right before I go to bed, I say, okay, because I am expecting healing in my sleep, right? I don't
Hmm.
remember, but I'm expecting downloads, all the things
Yes.
to help, release traumas because that
Yeah,
nervous system regulation is so important. So I say, okay, and I talk to my guides all the time, and
I do.
especially and I never forget now. I say, okay, I'm only allowing energy that is for my highest good to come into
That's
my
good.
child while I sleep. And then when I wake up, I say the same thing. Okay, throughout today, I'm only allowing energy that's for my highest good
I
to come
do
into.
that every day. And I think the thing that's really interesting, I also train a lot of healers. And one of the things I always say, people are like, oh, you've got to protect, protect, protect. Well, protection is really your vibration. So when you're
Mhm.
in a high vibration and you're praying and you're sitting in this powerful feeling of love and light, things that are negative don't want to be near you. They don't want to attack. They don't want to attach. You're not going to be at risk. I had one of my clients that I didn't know this before I trained her in Reiki, but apparently she was being attacked by like negative stuff at night. It was quite frightening what she was telling me. But it stopped completely after I attuned her and after I told her light is always stronger than darkness, and your fear is what brings things in that are bad for you, like energies. So, she wasn't bothered since. But I think it's all because of where you sit your energy and what you believe, because the belief is so powerful, isn't it?
It's so, so powerful.
Mm.
When I started on this kind of journey of coming into my own, like what do I want to do with my life? How do I want to show up? How do I, who do I want to attract, right? Where's my tribe? I had to say every day, and I didn't know how it would happen, but I had to tell myself, I'm a conscious co-creator and I have the ability to create the life I truly desire.
I
And
love
I would,
that.
okay, but what does that mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, little, pebbles leading me, it took a long, long, long time. And I feel very centered. And now I actually understand when people say, okay, I'm aligned, I'm grounded,
Oh,
I'm from this place. Now I actually feel it, and that's my belief. And so
yeah,
I put my mind a lot. I say, what do I want to be telling myself? And I catch those thoughts.
that's right.
Is what I really want to be telling myself? Is this no? It's kind of it takes a lot of energy and it's so worth it. The benefits are so
Yes.
amazing.
I think once you make that mind shift, you make the mind shift. And I know, like, even I really am very careful with self-talk. And I know as a child, sometimes we tell ourselves the things we heard. If it was negative, we kind of beat ourselves up with it. But that negative self-talk is such a low vibration energy. So as soon as that thought comes in, if you can catch it, like you said, and say, no, that experience wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. It was a decision. What did I learn from it? That always shifts you ahead. Instead of like, oh, I'm so dumb, look what I did. I never say that to myself. I'm like, all right, you made this choice. There's a reason. Why'd you do it? What did you learn? What karmically has come in through your pathway that you have agreed for before you got here in this earth plane? And
Yeah.
that also frees you from feeling that shame and guilt from silly things we do or choose that we would beat ourselves up about, right?
Yeah, and you hit it on the head when you said freeze, like freedom. That's really what we're all going for is freedom from that negative self-talk. And that's why I absolutely love the breath work because the
Yeah.
breath in particular, the style of breath work we do is just meant to quiet the mind so the heart can open so things that are stuck can come up and out. That is
That.
freedom. And I'm so sure that, true freedom is true embodiment. So, and I spent so many years trying to escape the body, the issues I had that kept getting,
Yeah.
louder and louder and louder pain signals and just very chronic and very disconnected and kind of hiding. And now I just want to go like this because wait a second, that wasn't real. And we have these tools, the breath, we all have that. We have these tools to help us. They're right there. So it's from within.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the more heart-centered people can be, the more they'll link the higher and lower chakras together. And that's really where the wisdom is. It's the heart wisdom. So one of the things I find with a lot of clients that are very disconnected, they're up here and they're just trying to figure it out, make the list, make the list. And that's not where the wisdom is. The wisdom is, what does my heart want? What resonates with my body and my heart? And then when you got that, this will shut up, you know. It's like I call it like the judge, you know, it's in there yelling at you all the time. It's like, be quiet for a while. Let me just deal from heart energy. And I
It's
think
so
it really helps, right?
the heart was always meant to guide the head. The heart was always meant to. We have it backwards, but we can turn it around. We're doing it. We're doing it. Absolutely.
We do, we do. And I love teaching like bringing light into the heart center. So when people are very brain centered, they're not linked with heart. So I have them drop their energy down into the heart center and like fill their body with pink light. And then kind of just sit in that moment of like happiness for even a few seconds to feel it. And then ask your heart, what do I need? What do I want? How can I shift? And that begins to like break through that blockhead that we have, right? It begins to just transform, you know.
hmm
Yes,
Throughout, I'm coming in from the head. I'm making sure that I'm kind of leading myself from the heart. So I will find myself in the head. Like we all are there. And then I
yes.
just, where do I want to be? And I lead from there. Yeah, it's a practice.
I love
It's a
that. I love that. And it is a practice. It's like anything else. You know, you're using a different way of being and thinking if you're not used to being and thinking in that way. And I think
Mhm.
that's an evolved human or more evolved we are, the more we're working from that center, which
Mhm.
makes us better at being just people, you know, making us better at being souls. So,
In
yes,
community. Yeah.
in
Mhm.
community. So, what when you're working with a client, what are the preliminary things? Is do you start with breath with a client? Is that the first like line when someone comes to you and they're like, "Oh, I can't breathe." Do you work with like teaching them breath, like the, you know, the holding breath and all that? What's your first way?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we always start from the breath. Absolutely. We start with kind of just a dropping in. We kind of drop in together and we acknowledge that we're not figuring it out on our own. So I'm always bringing in this sacred ritual of calling in our ancestors and our guides to
I
support us.
love that.
Very mystical, that's just how it
I
how
love
it
it.
goes.
I'll have to connect you with one of my guests I had on. She was a nun in Italy for many years before she left, and now she does a lot of ancestral work. But I was just amazed by just speaking to her too, because again, you know, the ancestor energy. Like with me, I work a lot with angels. I do work with guides, but when I'm reading for people, I work with their angel realm mostly, and then sometimes a guide will step in. But because the vibration's so high with angels, right? So yeah, there's so much we have we don't even know it's there, but it's all around us all the time.
And then I'm attuning. I know that I'm kind of meant to be a beacon. Well,
Yeah,
there's a light that's in
yeah,
me that is to be shared. So I'm
yeah,
just working more and more on keeping it uncovered and being curious and playful and spontaneous and so enthusiastic. Like that's me. I
yeah,
can't help it, right?
yeah,
That's
yes,
what's to help lift, help each other, lift each other up. And so that's, when that's what I'm doing when I'm just, sitting next to someone or kind of
yeah,
playfully like a fairy in a way,
yes,
looking around,
yes.
like what kind of fun interaction am I going to have with the person at the supermarket? Or, it's all,
That's me.
yeah, that's
That's
you for
very
sure.
much me, yourself, what you're saying. Yes. I think that's super cool. I know too, it's really neat. It's like when you attune, and you know this because you know Reiki, and you do attunements as well, right? Do you for Reiki? Their guides will step in sometimes and they'll show me stuff. And I'm like, that is cool. Like you ask the guides in that help with the Reiki attunement. And all of a sudden, like, you know, you get this like energy that you can't explain and these words or this vision for this person. And it's always different. It's always different for each person. And sometimes you get like really insistent guides that are like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. We were waiting on this person for too long, you know? And now you have to go real quick. Yeah, you never know.
Very next level. I'm not there yet, but I love hearing about that. Yeah, I
Oh,
love
yes.
that. It kind
Yes.
of, yeah. Yeah, I do. There's like heart energy that comes through. It's like it's certain mudras that come through um,
Yes.
during the energy part of my kind of towards the end when we're integrating.
Yeah.
That comes through. Light language is starting to come
Light
through.
language. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. You know, it's neat. I saw something the other day, you know, the mudras with the hands, how when you're
Yeah.
breathing with the mudra, it affects different parts of your body. And I didn't really, like, I don't really do mudras. So I was like, you know, it came up on Facebook. I'm like, all right, let me try that. And I'm like, okay, they're saying, all right, did you feel the energy? And I'm like, I felt it in my stomach. And then the guy says, you felt that in your stomach. I'm like, wow. So it links things. And I thought that was really neat. Yeah.
I that yeah, I'm always working with the fingers. And also fingers align. I don't know this much about it, but the planets, right? There's so many different things
Yeah, the
that align.
Jupiter finger, I think is this one because I have a star under my Jupiter finger. And
Mhm.
years ago, I had someone read tarot for me, and I was like 16 years old. A guy I used to work for, and he read everything, and he, you know, saw the star, and he says, "You have a mystic star," and I have, you know, the M, and I have the, you know, the all these different things on my hand, and I'm looking at him like, really? And then he did the cards with me, and he told me what was going to, you know, be ahead of me, and I'm like, really? But he was
It's so
right.
it's so weird because I'm in that phase of my life where I'm
Yeah.
looking at my old, 2007, well, 2008, I got certified to teach yoga. So all my old manuals and the things that I wrote down and when I first came to Omega, what I was dreaming about and where I
Yeah.
am now. It's so wonderful. But yeah.
Yeah, I find spirit always leads you, but it's always like you've got to take that next step. So you'll get like an idea, and a lot of us just talk ourselves out of it, right? And I always say if I get that real strong like pull, I can't understand the step ahead of me, but I can do that next step. And then when you do, the next one will come. And then when you don't need proof anymore, then you get all the proof you don't want or you don't need anymore, right? But it
You're
happens time.
Yeah, your heart, that's your heart guiding you. So that's what I want people to drop into is that heart, that trust, right?
Yes.
That expansion, that, just the feeling in your body and in your heart, it'll
Mhm.
lead you. Um, the mind will just follow.
I love that. I love that. And I think too, sometimes people are so busy, they don't give themselves those moments to sit in their energy, their power, their heart, because it's taken up with too much to do or junk stuff, like, I don't know, scrolling on the internet or something for no purpose. It's like a lot of that junk just clutters up our soul or what we're meant to be doing. And I think
Mhm.
once we find that clarity, you begin to notice small coincidences and the feather that drops down and the coin in your shoe that shouldn't be there. And just like coincidences that begin to occur, which are synchronicities, right?
Yeah, and when you're following kind of your heart where you really want to go, then you don't need to kind of distract yourself with
Yeah.
other things, right?
Yes.
Like the shopping addictions or the, over
Yes.
things like that, because you're in alignment and you're finding that natural energy from following your path, this little adventure, because we're all meant to be the heroes in our life adventure. It's different
Yeah.
for everyone. I always laugh. I'm like, well, if it sounds crazy to you, then probably the perfect thing for me, like the
Yeah.
crazy. Because it's so wonderful. Like I just went, skydiving for a big birthday this year, and it's so funny because I knew my heart knew that was the exact right thing, and my body was rebelling. My mind was like, no, you're crazy, and it really was the best, most beautiful thing. I needed
Yes.
a like kind of little lift, into this
Wow.
next chapter in my life because of my family lineage had lots of health issues. Like my, things that told us that when you reach a certain age, you don't get to do the dream. Like I had, done skydiving before,
Ooh.
um, but over but many many years ago. So I had to decide. I had to make a choice. Was that for that version of me, or is it for this version of me? And I decided. My heart told me yes, and it just worked out so wonderfully, and it was such a bonding for
That is
everybody.
amazing. It's like I was saying on our last conversation, that is something that would terrify the heck out of me to do, which is that's why it's so cool that you did it because you had to fight that feeling to do what you felt your heart wanted you to do, and that was really a brave thing. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
encourage
skydive.
not skydiving, but I encourage everyone to kind of go a
Yes.
little, go to their edge, right? To tune in. Does it feel
Yeah,
right? And see what happens, and then everything else after that, it's like, well, what else? If I can do that, then and
that I
then
could do anything.
all these
I,
doors
I
open.
love that. I try to do one new thing every birthday. So, like you said, for your birthday, for mine, like I try to pick one new skill or thing or something to learn every single year. Like in my 30s, 38, I think I learned how to ski. And then, the thing went on a horse ride. This year, like last 2 years, I did podcasting, but I always pick something that I want to do that's going to grow not only my brain, but like it brings great joy when you do something new. And when it's something you are just discovering about yourself. So that's really great. I love that. Do you like to travel and have you traveled?
I absolutely love to travel, and it's fun, and I love it
Yeah.
beyond. Like when I was little, I was traveling. I grew up in New Jersey, and I would visit my
Oh,
grandmother in Florida. And so my parents wouldn't go with me. We'd be these. I have a twin brother, and we would be these little teeny kids, going alone on the plane. So I have these memories of plane travel that are so great.
okay.
And
Wow.
I traveled all as soon as I could. In college, I started traveling just as much as possible. And what's really funny is because it's time for me to start traveling again. I have not traveled in a while, basically since I've started to, you may
Love
relate, like
that.
I'm getting really into this as a business and I have my full-time
We'll have to
job.
stay in contact because I got a couple trips I want to do. That's super
Yeah,
cool.
I'm
Yep.
so there. I have big plans. So yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
What was your, so you grew up in New Jersey. Where in New Jersey? I'm just curious because I am in New Jersey.
All right, New Jersey. Yeah, I grew up in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Oh, Hoboken. My son lived there for a couple of years. Yeah, Hoboken's nice.
It
Little
was,
tiny town. I used to go to the Clambroth house years ago when I was
yep, little tiny
yeah.
town.
Little
Lots, yeah.
town. Yes. Yes, that's beautiful. Yeah, the other thing I was going to ask you is what was your favorite place, or was there one favorite location that you're like, I really want to go back there?
Oh, I mean, I have one I haven't been to yet. I really want to go to New Zealand.
Hmm.
I'd love to go to Malaysia because I have family in Malaysia. So I
Oh,
want to go
boy.
far. We're going to get on a plane over 24
Wow.
hours. That's what's happening. But my favorite place that I'd love to go back, gosh, I loved Edinburgh. I just think it's so magical. Scotland
Yeah.
area. I loved going to Portugal.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
just
heard that's nice. I haven't been, I've been to some of the islands, like I've traveled to some islands, and went to Italy this past year, and I adored it. I want to go back. But other than that, like those are the places I wanted the most. When I was in high school, I wanted to go to Egypt. Now I'm like, I'll just see it on the screen. I don't think I want to go there, but I would love to see the pyramids. I think that's really neat because I love history.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Me too. Yeah,
yeah.
right now it's in New Zealand and Malaysia because I have family there and I really want to see them in real life. So
Yes, that is
mm,
cool. So that is that your ancestry, or that did people just move there, or is that your ancestry from Malaysia and those places?
much about I that's I'm on a path to learn more about my ancestry. My parents did not involve us so much with their birth families. They were professional musicians and they had the musicians
Oh,
were kind of we grew up with that kind
oh,
of a
that's
family.
neat. Yeah,
I'm late in life kind of rediscovering and appreciating and
love
I want to
that.
learn about my ancestry for
Do you
sure, for
play
sure.
music? Do you play music as well?
Let's see. Oh, okay. I have, this is maybe that's my next birthday. I have a ukulele and I'm
Okay.
learning, and that's like yeah. But I've studied music. And I just realized quite quickly that I didn't want to do it professionally because there was this
Mm.
social aspect to me. Did
Yes,
not want to hold up and study, but
yes.
yeah.
Very
So
Yeah, music is wonderful. I mean, I know it's so healing when you find music that you love. I used to play a lot of classical music on the piano when I was a kid because I learned how to play the piano. I haven't touched a piano in ages though. Really, I have it here in this room, but I haven't touched it in ages. But like again, I knew that wasn't my mission. My mission was to teach, and so very early on, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. And then when I was teaching for many years, I was getting like, you should be spiritually teaching. I'm like, well, what does that mean? How do I do that? Where do I go? What do I know? And that kind of organically developed for me from my life chart, I suppose.
mm,
Okay, so what practices do you do to keep yourself grounded? And I'm sure you're going to tell me breath work and yoga, but is there anything else that you do that keeps yourself kind of centered, aligned, and happy?
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, I'm very conscious of kind of the foods that I eat and the ritual that I have around, feeding and taking care of my body. So I do, I do things like I love Dr. Perry Nicholson has a lymphatic, system
Okay.
kind of keeping our lymph. So I highly recommend him. And I do like a little 2-minute practice now called the Big Six in the mornings
Okay.
and open up the areas for lymph. And that kind of starts off my day. I do breath work. Absolutely. Um, it's kind of a fiery, a really, I'm working on fire energy,
Oh
my
yeah.
own
For
power. So
chakra. For
open, yep,
chakra.
opening up through the belly, yep.
Yeah.
Um, and I go into really deep meditation after that. So that's,
Mhm.
and then I spend a lot of time on the block because
Okay.
that's doing some little bit of fascia release work. So it could be
Okay.
while I'm at my desk, I'm usually have the block somewhere, maybe between my legs or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
and I also I smile at myself a lot in the mirror. I think that's such a powerful practice. Like
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
I hate you, just doing that kind of a,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
boost for ourselves. We give one of my other favorite teachers, Alunia Noel, says, and I just resonate so much with that. We give this beautiful face away. This image that what we have is
Mhm.
meant for ourselves. So we should
Mhm.
spend appreciating ourselves. And then I just try to say nice things to myself throughout
I
the
love
day.
that. When I was little, my mom actually took me to the doctor, and I was probably 6 months old. She goes, "There's something wrong with my baby. She never cries, and she's always smiling." And it's still today, you know. It's still me today, but I think that's so funny. My mother, probably the doctor thought like, "What the heck's wrong with this kid?" You know, she doesn't cry for food, she doesn't complain, she just smiles at everybody. But I was a observer for many, many years. I just observed people and I just watched and I watched faces and I watched, I was just an observer for quite a long time. And I was really quiet until I was probably 23, 24 when I knew I wanted to be a teacher. And then I had to develop this voice that I was afraid to like let it out. As a kid, I was very quiet. And I haven't shut up since, I don't think.
Think I relate to you as well because I remember myself always hiding behind my mom's legs, peeking out, very, very so shy.
Yeah.
Um, even in college, I mean, I had so many anxieties and I wanted so badly to be born into what I was going to do in life. Like I really had to kind of,
Yes.
I didn't have that structure, and I
Yeah.
wanted so badly. So I was so lost, beautiful. I have so much appreciation for the Diana who kind of had to go through all of these um, beliefs about herself, and
Mhm.
just kind of break free because now, like, can't hold me back now.
Yes, I love
It's
that.
wonderful.
You're like a white tiger. I see like a white
Yes,
lion or a white tiger, right? The strength,
gorgeous.
the strength. Yes. So,
Yeah.
is there anything else that you want to share or how people can contact you? How can they find you?
I would love it, and I love that we've spent so much time talking about heart. I'm in the Rhinebeck, New York area, and if you are local and you're listening, I have an event coming up. It's Radiant Heart Breathwork. I am so excited about it. I believe we're gonna glow together. I mean, we're gonna breathe in community, which is so powerful and healing. But it's this Sunday, November 23rd at 6 p.m. And I'm not getting in my way at all with this. Things are
Love
coming
that.
to me and people are coming that are exactly meant to be there so we can support
Yes.
this healing.
I
So
just love that. So, do you
yeah,
also do Zoom events for clients or
yeah, I do.
thing or
Absolutely.
guiding?
Yeah, so I do virtual sessions, in-person sessions. I'm planning even today, I'm planning on some retreats that I'll be doing for the new year. I'm in that phase, but they can find me at blockandbreathe.com, or
Okay.
Instagram at block and breathe. And I'm just excited to see what unfolds with this. It's such a very new
Yeah.
to this. I'm very excited
That's
and
beautiful. I do hope people contact you because you have beautiful energy and I know you have a lot to offer.
thank
And
you.
I thank you from my heart that you're here today because I'm so blessed that I met you because I think you're amazing and you have beautiful energy. And I just like, I want Diana. She's awesome.
Oh, and I want you, Rosemary. I absolutely love your energy. The feeling is so mutual. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And so this has been the Lightwalker's Path. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Let us know what you're thinking. Contact Diana for beautiful things she does. You could find me on rosemaryd.com for workshops, my books, one-to-one sessions, and Reiki training, and other things I do. So thank you so much for your time today, Diana.
Thank you.